Hey, what's up guys, Edison here. This is going to be a video of a couple firsts. The first one is going to be my first CGC comic book unboxing. This is not really like my first graded comic book. I have some like on the shelves up here, but it is going to be the first one that I've graded myself. And in like that same vein, it's the first Golden Age comic I've graded myself. I have a couple of like Silver Age stuff at grading right now, but this comic I decided to express. And we'll go in more details there. And it's also the first time that I've done a video like this where I have the camera on a tripod pointed at me. Maybe I'll do more of this style. For comic books, it makes a lot of sense just because they don't fit really into the frame of how I do like the card unboxing videos. So maybe we'll kind of substitute this out for comic releases or comic stuff or, I don't know, other stuff, shoes, clothes. I'm into a lot of things. I'm into vinyls and stuff. I have like signed Kanye vinyls up there. But yeah, so that's going to be, in this box is my first CGC return, comic book return. And when I got this in the mail, I also got a card back from them. This was a one card express order. I think a lot of people know to do this now, but the trick is you send in an express order with everything else in the box. This works for comic books as well. I've seen a couple of videos of people doing comic book submissions this way. So you do an express order. So you mark the box. You mark on the box with the word express. So that means they prioritize opening it up. And when they open up your express order, if your bulk order is in the same box, they'll just they'll move your bulk to scheduled. So you're really avoiding like a 2-month delay from when they open up the box to when they put it, like when they receive the box and when they put it into schedule for grading. But it was just a one card express because, as I said, I just wanted to get this order in. I think I might do B-roll as well to kind of show you the card a little bit closer. But I'll hold it to the camera. It was a Dark Dragonite first edition. I don't know if this really shows up on frame, but it was a pretty heavy miscut. You can see that the bottom border's like much thicker. There's a print alignment dot in the bottom. This is bottom left-hand corner. And it graded a CGC 8.5 near mint to mint plus. I think that's a pretty solid grade for this type of card, but I mean, a lot of the value just comes from the fact that it's off-center and Dark Dragonite, and like the fact that it's Dragonite, popular Pokemon, the fact that it's WotC. A lot of the WotC miscuts are a little bit harder to find, and a little bit more valuable because they're vintage. And it's, it's first edition, it's Dragonite from Team Rocket set, which is popular. And it's off-center. It's a cool error. And then my book is between this cardboard. So then I have my handling fee thing. So this book was sent express to CGC. It came out to like $120 to have it graded and shipped back to me. I did pay for high-res scanning because I don't, like my scanner that I use for my trading cards isn't big enough to fit this, like a comic book slab on the thing. So I paid for the scanning because there's like $5 and I thought that was worth it. And yeah, so this, as I mentioned, was a Golden Age book. I'm very much into Golden Age Batman. I didn't really have comic books readily available to read growing up because they were also very expensive. But I did have like a Marvel encyclopedia. And I remember just constantly reading that and referencing stories. And like the stuff that I was really into from that was definitely like the Fantastic Four. And then from there, I kind of got into Batman. As I was like a teenager, I got more into the DC stories. And now that I have, extra income from selling cards, I'm kind of going back and realizing, wow, I could pick up, comic books from the 40s and 50s for some of my favorite characters. Beautiful covers and art styles. So yeah, that's what we're going to end up doing. So this is the book. It comes in this little bag. I've never gotten a CGC book back before. Let me see if I can cover up the grade. So here it is. Well, let me take it out of the bag as well. Here it is. Let me see. I hope you can see it well. It's Detective Comics 109, made by DC Comics, released in March of 1946. So this was, I think, less than a year after World War II. There's a couple iconic parts and really nice things about this book. Is you'll see it is a Joker cover. Joker covers are just like more expensive for the Golden Age stuff, and even like Silver Age books. Typically, if there's a Joker cover on them, they do a little bit better, even if it's not a key story. A really nice Detective Comics 109. You have Batman in the top right corner. I'll try to do B-roll showing this book off. It's in rough shape. It was heavily water damaged when I purchased it, and when I bought it initially, I bid quite aggressively on it because a lot of this type of stuff doesn't pop up for sale very often on eBay, especially raw copies and for auction especially. You'll notice that a lot of people throw this stuff up for buy it now and never really auction it off because I kind of agree it doesn't really tend to do too well. But I bid this up, and when I got it in, I noticed that the cover had come detached from the rest of the book. And we'll even notice on the label, I'll put it up to the camera, it also mentions it in the grader's notes that the book has the cover detached. So long story short, I contacted the seller. He was super nice to me. He actually gave me a partial refund and apologized for that, which I do appreciate. But the book was heavily water damaged. There was staining on the interior, which I think the grader notes also noted. But yeah, I got it cleaned and pressed by someone. There's only so much you can do with this type of damage. And that's really why I looked towards grading it and slabbing it, because I thought the book would just present nicer and be protected. That's the big thing for me is preservation. That's kind of why I grade like damaged cards, and just to get them encapsulated, because I really do want to preserve some type of things like that. And I don't mind low grades in books. Like if you look at my personal collection that I have on shelves right now, like I'm fine with like 2s and 3s in books. But because of all that damage that I mentioned, I'll have some B-roll probably, hopefully, going on right now. I thought this was in between a 2 or a 3. The water damage was pretty severe. That's definitely a big part of it. The cover was detached, which is another big thing to look for. And then the staining and the page quality. But it did end up getting a 2.0, which obviously isn't a great grade, but which I found was super interesting is I have, like, a lot of people recommend using GPA. So I have the GPA analysis thing, and I found the last 2.0 in this book that it sold was in 2014. So 7 years ago was the last time this book sold in this grade. According to them, I think they don't really track some sales too well, especially for like stuff that goes out of stock. I don't think it's registered like out of stock on eBay. But I mean, this is a beautiful copy. Okay, so one thing I really love, and I don't really feel like getting up right now to show it, but you'll see that like Golden Age books are just a little bit wider, so they kind of take up more of the slab itself. I mean, this book just presents beautifully. It's going to look great on my shelf. I guess I should talk about cost as well. We can show the back off at this point. In terms of cost, this book was around like $330 raw. I paid like $20 for the cleaning and pressing, and then grading was, as I mentioned, $120. So I have like a little under $500 into it. I was really hoping that it could grade maybe a little bit higher, at maybe closer to a 3.0, but I don't think the grade is unfair. The book was heavily damaged, but and super wavy from water damage. It might have been like in someone's cellar, but it's just an amazing cover. It's very dirty as well. I do think that because the cover is detached, there is potential to like heavily clean this, but I would just be afraid of it. And this is like something that I noticed when I got it cleaned and pressed. It's a lot less wavy now. I keep using that word. You just have to kind of, I might throw up 4 pictures of what it looked like, but that top right-hand corner, or no, top left-hand corner, a lot of those pieces came off. I guess I should say too, it got creamed to off-white pages. That's a little surprising to me. I don't think these are creamed to off-white. These pages are pretty dark. I would say they're almost borderline brittle, which kind of makes sense because they were water damaged. But yeah, my initial point was just that top right-hand corner, you can see that some pieces fell out. They were super brittle, but that's just how the book was when I got it. I mean, just amazing, man. Batman Detective Comics with the Joker cover. Even in this grade, I think I think what I paid for the book is a super fair price for it. Just because there's not a lot of recent sales history to judge it based on. I would value a 3.0 in a blue label. Like this is the blue label universal grade. I'd value that at like $700, $750. So 2.0 I think for around $400. So the price doesn't actually matter. I'm not planning on selling this. I just want to have it on display. And this stuff is so cool to me because when I got it in, and this is where I want to buy raw Batman comics to grade. When I got the book in, I read through the story. So it's just, very basic Joker story. It's something along the lines of Batman and Robin are going to like one of the high society clubs that Bruce Wayne was a part of. And it just so happened as they were entering this club, the Joker had dressed up as, I think, a bellboy, and he was robbing the place. And they changes the costume. Robin gets kidnapped. And then there's the types of jokes are pretty funny. And then what I really liked was the ending of after like the Joker gets away, but they foil his plan. Is they make like a really silly joke just about like, oh, that Joker character sure likes making jokes, and it shows like a very playful interpretation of this character who in recent years, maybe not recent, but like the past 40 years has turned into a much darker character. But this is like a lot more jovial and eccentric, and you can just tell that like look at the cover, the fact that he's laying the Joker is laying bricks with jokes on them. This brick he has says, "Why does a chicken cross the road?" There's a bunch of not stupid, but like childish jokes, like not highbrow humor, not really funny or subtle. And then the fact that the bricks say "ha ha ha" on them, it's just so good, and it presents a lot nicer than in a Mylar. I know some people like just displaying their books in Mylar bags, but when it comes to stuff like this, I kind of see this stuff with historical value. I think Batman is probably one of the coolest superheroes, probably one of the most fan favorite superheroes. And there's a new Batman movie coming out, and Joker being probably the most iconic supervillain ever written. It's just such good stuff. I'm really happy. I love this, and I was a little bit afraid of how it would present in the slab because I've seen some Golden Age books or just books in general. They're not slabbed well, so like they're kind of warped, they're twisted a bit. I personally think this presents really nice. I think in the case itself, you can't really tell how severe the water damage is. So I think it actually presents above its grade. And a lot of 2.0s that you see, or like stuff around this grade that you see online, if there is no real water damage, there'll be pieces missing. And this is like a separate point where when I got this, I was happy because I valued having the cover complete so you could see the art a lot more than I really cared about dirt and water damage. I don't notice any neuter rings, but I will say I do notice quite a few scratches throughout. And the scratches don't seem like they're on this plastic. There should be a plastic sleeve covering and preserving the comic. I think that's what that's on. Just again, I'm so excited to get this back on to show it off one more time. Just how cool it is. Batman, Detective Comics 109 from 1946. Batman and Robin chasing after the Joker, laying down some bricks with jokes on them. Great stuff. You can't really. It makes me so happy, and I got a lot more like Golden Age stuff that I'm grading. I am trying to I am pretty aggressively trying to buy up any like detective comics or Batman comics from the 1940s, especially stuff with these cool covers because I do want to grade more stuff myself. All right, thanks for watching, and I appreciate you guys coming here. I hope you like this style of video, and hopefully this will be the start of way more comic videos for me. Have a nice one.